Hi everyone, my name is Joel Patterson and this is my Mod 5 Barriers to Web 2.0 for AEP 800. I'll get this apology out of the way here at the beginning. I am fighting through a little bit of a cold right now, so I'll keep my coughing it to a minimum, I hope. Um, kind of leading off, I just jumped into a few of the summaries from our reading assignments in our video from this module. The first reading assignment was Barriers to Web 2.0. And it kind of dealt with how schools need access to technology in areas such as Wi-Fi, smart boards, student response systems, digital projectors, document cameras, but a lot of schools don't. In fact, more schools don't have those technologies compared to those that do. Kind of why is that? A lot of teachers kind of cite lack of time, training, administrative support as big reasons why they don't have those. The next article was 7 Common Barriers to Web 2.0. There's a lot of different things that can slow down schools from implementing technology. Funding is always going to be a big one. Another big one was shifting traditional teaching roles, kind of changing what that looks like for teachers, whether they're new teachers or very veteran teachers. Thinking beyond textbooks, little support, whether that's from administration or even a lack of a technology department to kind of help get new approaches kind of running. And then lack of vision from administration are some of the bigger barriers that we face. The next article was on the digital divide. And this was an article talking kind of about the haves and have-nots and how that gap needs to be narrowed. The article kind of talked about some communities in Ohio, Kentucky area that, are already having generations grow up without access to high-speed internet. They're still using dial-up internet. And I really feel like after reading through that article, like those kids in those communities are already, going to enter those workforces at a disadvantage. And so that gap definitely needs to be narrowed. Our next article was on open ed resources, and this one, this was a kind of a newer approach, but it's free online educational resources that can allow districts to possibly spend some of that money that's going towards textbooks to use in other areas, perhaps in technology, because these resources are growing in popularity and availability. Originally, the open ed resources were kind of bits and pieces of good information for a curriculum, but now it's built to a point where you could roll it out for an entire curriculum. So schools are going to be more likely to start giving that a shot. In the video, talked about how some of the most innovative technology practices are taking place in the primary settings compared to the secondary. And the thought there was that primary teachers are with their students for more time, so their time and energy, it's more beneficial for them, and they can kind of see the reward with that because they're able to work with it with their students for a longer period of time compared to a secondary teacher that may have students for 30, 45 minutes to maybe an hour, and then the next wave of students come in, so they don't see those benefits quite as quickly. Okay, so that wraps up the summaries. Move our picture here. The next piece, as a future building administrator, do you feel the digital divide can be resolved? Why or why not? I feel like it can. It's just going to take a little bit more time. I really feel like schools should be the place that all students can access that technology, though, whether they can or can't at home. Schools should be a place that they can. I think one challenge is we have a lot of teachers, veteran teachers that have been teaching since way before the internet was even a big thing. And so that change could be a little bit slower for some teachers that don't have as much background there. However, I do think that students that have grown up in this day and age with technology all around them, they are increasingly tech savvy, and they could really be the generation that kind of puts it all together and harnesses its full power. I think there's a big need, and I know funding is always going to be an issue here, but there's a big need for district technology support staff to be able to train these teachers the correct ways to roll out these new approaches, whether that's for certified and or classified staff. Um, the last little bullet here is just that Wi-Fi and the devices that use it are becoming more and more common. Whether at school you're talking about a Chromebook or a laptop or a smartphone, any of those things are all tapped into Wi-Fi. As future building administrator, what skill sets do you feel the 21st century students must acquire prior to graduation? This was a tough one to kind of narrow down, but I tried to pull it into 4 bullet points here. The first one being digital citizenship. I think with the workplace that students are going into, they have to have really solid skills with digital citizenship and how to interact with others appropriately online. The next one, a growth mindset. We talk about this a lot in my class, just having that willingness to work through adversity, be adaptable, be flexible. We use the word grit a lot, kind of working through those tough moments. Collaboration is another one I try to use a ton in my class. Just working with others. Pretty much any field these kids are going to get into, they're going to need to be working with others. So getting them those opportunities is huge. And then critical thinking skills and making those connections between what we're learning at school and in life. What impact has the global economy had on your personal use of the internet? Well, I kind of said smartphones plus Wi-Fi means you're connected anywhere and anytime. Smartphones are so much a part of our lives today, even more so than 5, 10, 15 years ago. So you're always up to date on news, trends, hobbies, Twitter, Facebook, all of those, applications are keeping you up to speed with what's going on. Sharing photos, whether it's Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, text messaging has really changed how communication looks. A quick text message can go out and you can get a response right away, and you can contact multiple people at once. Amazon Prime is a big one at my household. Lots of shopping done through them, and then video streaming as well. Netflix, Prime, Amazon Prime, that is, Sling. We use YouTube a lot just for music and how-to videos. If I'm trying to figure out how to do something handy around the house and I don't know how to do it, I just hop on YouTube and try to watch a quick video to learn how to do it. And then the master's program that we're all in right now, just the ability to do an entire degree online is huge for scheduling things with your family and work and everything, and having the flexibility to do other things in your schedule and not have to run off to a night class every night. What technology training do you still need to effectively integrate technology in your current position? I just said adequate time and training on new applications. I feel like we have gotten some good training on some newer applications like our smart boards and how to kind of roll out Google Classroom. But I've also experienced, plenty of times in my career where there's this great new technology and they show it to you once and say, hey, this is what you should use in your classroom, but then you don't really have any time to practice it or get familiar with it, and then it just kind of falls by the wayside. As an administrator, I know that I need to know, how to use these applications at least well enough to be able to teach other staff about it. So need to always be learning and always be having that growth mindset and trying to be able to try new things. I will be the first to admit I have a lack of knowledge or background on some of the approaches, some of the ones that were mentioned in our Horizon reports, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, robotics, coding. I know what all those are, but I think I could definitely use a little bit more background there before I could feel real comfortable with, using those in my classrooms. Is your school district, is your school or district equipped with 21st century technology? I think without a doubt, Gardner Edgerton is doing a great job of getting technology in the students' hands. We right now are at a 1-to-1 ratio for Chromebooks for fourth grade and up. We have third grade coming on board next year, and then we have second grade coming on the year after that. Laptop carts are getting phased out currently, and by 2020, all K-1 classrooms are going to have touchscreen devices, and then second through fourth grade up will have the Chromebooks. This summer, we also had Epson smartboard projectors installed in all of our classrooms, and document cameras, district Wi-Fi, student Gmail accounts. Students don't actually have email, but they do have cloud storage. We also have our Career Pathways program at the high school, and we have an advanced tech center that opened up last year where high school students can work with auto collision, welding programs over there. What are the advantages of innovative practices in school? First and foremost, student engagement. There's more interest, more choice, more learning. There's real world application to it. So the students are able to experience things that they will do in the future. It's preparing them for the future so that they can hone those skills that they're going to need, the skills that they want. There's more meaningful learning experiences as well because they're learning by doing. And then on the teacher side of things, it's all data driven. So you have real-time data to kind of gear your instruction with them. And then it also helps narrow that achievement gap because you have students that are invested in their own learning. And lastly, it's also including parents more in the learning process. Disadvantages. What disadvantages do you see in the innovative practices? On this one, I said that technology changes so quickly, so it is possible that you spend a lot of time and resources on a certain approach, and it may become obsolete in the short term, which could lead to frustration with stakeholders. Staff buy-in would also be a little difficult with some teachers that are a little bit more veteran, so they may resist it a little bit and not give that a fair chance. Accessibility and affordability. I really feel like in my district for USD 231, most of our students can access it, but not all districts are quite as fortunate. And then funding is always an issue. Money has to go to a lot of different places. So, being able to make sure that some of it gets into technology is pretty big. And then the last one, I just said technology does not replace teachers. It could happen where a teacher just thought that the technology was so great that they just kind of kicked back and kind of let technology do its thing, and that's not really how it should be done. Have you ever experienced problems with cyberbullying or inappropriate internet? I haven't. I teach third grade, and I haven't seen it at the elementary level. We do spend a great deal of time focusing on digital citizenship in our class. And then we have a specials that the students go to a computer lab, so they kind of follow it up in there as well. And then those discussions are just ongoing throughout the year, in addition to expectations for what they should and shouldn't do on the internet. We also have an acceptable use policy for staff and students, and then we have a web filtering program for content, so inappropriate content isn't getting into students' hands through this is through the Children's Internet Protection Act. And I believe that's it. So thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks.